Hi, Kubernetes Community Days UK, and thanks for having me. I'll start with a quick introduction. My name's Paula Kennedy. I recently co-founded a company called Syntasso with a great team of colleagues. My background is I've worked in technology for more than 20 years, 10 years in software as a service, and then spent the last 10 years with more of a platform focus, most recently working at Pivotal, and then later as part of VMware, working with customers who are running large internal platforms. So, what will I be talking about today? I'm going to describe the platform gap, a challenge that my team and I have seen at many companies we've worked with in the past, and which might sound familiar to some of you in the audience. I'll explain it in terms of why you should worry about it. I'll make some suggestions of things that you could possibly do about it. I'll provide some examples where customers who we've worked with have seen significant progress in solving some of these challenges. And hopefully, I'll leave you with some things to think about going forward and possibly ask you for some help as well. So let's start by thinking about what is the platform gap. Let's say you have a team, we'll call them Team A. They are responsible for an application. Let's just say it's a mobile banking application. And because you're following the DevOps principles of you build it, you run it, the team is managing their own Kubernetes clusters. And then they have a database sitting on top. Let's say they have some machine learning in there as part of their application. And then finally, they're using Knative and Kpack for their application. And if you are a slightly bigger organization, maybe you've got Team B. Team B might be responsible for a mortgage calculator. And let's just suppose when we look at their stack, it's very similar to Team A, but in this case, they have a CRM tool as part of the stack and no machine learning. Now, maybe you've also got Team C, who could be taking care of credit cards. And their stack looks very similar to Team A when we look at this diagram, but maybe they've got things configured just slightly differently. And then we have Team D, and you can see their stack looks very different. They're running the legacy payment system, running on bare metal on premises, looks completely different to the others, but it's a core part of your business. Now, maybe you've got hundreds of similar but separate teams. Maybe your organization has made acquisitions of other companies in the past, and you've got several teams doing similar things, but completely separately. This is what it looks like when you've got a platform gap. Each team is juggling all of the components of the stack themselves. They've all got to cross this gap, going from the infrastructure to actually delivering the end value to the customers through their applications. And with this platform gap, what are the implications? What should we be worrying about? There's actually a number of problems with this model. The first thing to notice is the cognitive load on each team. Now, cognitive load is a psychological term defined as the amount of information that working memory can hold at one time. In this case, we can see that Team A is managing a lot. And the more things they're managing, the more information they have to remember about each part of the stack, and the less they're focused on the actual application that's delivering value to the business. As my former colleague James Waters used to say, the application teams should be focused on delivering business value above the value line. The value line can be defined as separating what's core to your business versus what you can and should outsource. In this case, we mean it to say, what is the core specialism of this application team that they should be focused on, instead of them also trying to wire all of the infrastructure elements together. And because this team has reduced headspace to focus on the app, this could have several knock-on implications. It could mean that they are unable to deliver new features at speed. Maybe they can't react quickly enough to customer feedback. Maybe they cannot iterate or patch and keep their stack secure. And ultimately, they could be falling behind your competitors. And when you've got all of the teams in your organization facing the same cognitive load challenges, this is slowing down the whole business. Now, when you look at these teams, it's also clear that there's a lot of duplication and wasted effort. If we remove Team D's bespoke stack from the visual, you can see that across teams A, B, and C, there are common items in each of the team's stack where your organization could be pooling resources to save time and money. By sharing these services, your organization could benefit from economies of scope, which can be defined as the average total cost of a company's production decreases when there is an increasing variety of goods produced. In this case, it means that if some of these common parts of the stack could be grouped together and shared, then the cost for adding new teams and new products would be lowered, thus reducing the average cost per business application. Within this model, there also seem to be some pretty solid brick walls. So what does this mean for team communication and collaboration? It looks like the teams are working in silos and that they're not working together to share best practices, to share their knowledge and skills. You might have multiple people across the organization struggling to solve the same problems without any shared learning or pooling of resources. And what are the rules of engagement between these teams? How should they or could they even work together? And maybe there are other hidden elements that your broader organization is not aware of. There could be other parts of the stack within each team that are somehow hidden in the murky world of shadow IT. Teams could be using tools that don't actually comply with your internal governance or compliance, which could be leading to security risks. On the flip side, maybe one team is using a fantastic tool, the next greatest and best tool, which could massively benefit 10 other teams if only they could access that service without themselves having to take on the extra cognitive load of learning how to use that tool. So, what does all of this mean? To summarize, at Syntasso, we define the platform gap as the chasm each team must cross between the infrastructure and delivering their meaningful product value. And when you have this platform gap, this means that you have got cognitive load on each team, you have duplication and waste, you have team silos with no collaboration, you've potentially got shadow IT lurking out there, and potentially security or compliance gaps, which could mean it's a nightmare to audit to figure out what's going on across your business. Now, aside from my team's combined many years of working with customers who've experienced some of these issues, is there any other data out there? There's actually a great report from Dynatrace that they ran this year. It's based on a global survey of 700 CIOs in large enterprises with over 1,000 employees across multiple countries. In their survey, they found that of the 700 CIOs who responded, nearly half say their IT teams are stretched thin. Imagine what the cognitive load is for those teams. Half say that their business and IT teams work in silos. 40% of these CIOs say that limited collaboration is disrupting IT's ability to respond to change. And 3/4 of these CIOs say they are fed up having to piece together data from multiple tools to assess the impact of IT investments. So you can only imagine what kind of a sprawl of technology they might be dealing with. So with all of these platform gap issues that we can see within large organizations, how might we go about trying to cross this platform gap? As with all good questions, there are no easy answers, but I've tried to break this down into two key parts. There's really change that's required at the organizational level. And then to specifically hone in on the challenge of platform gap, there's a structure and practices that a platform team needs to have. So let's start by talking about organizational change. Now, a really great place to start is with a book called Team Topologies. It's an excellent book. This is a photograph of my copy of their book. It was published in 2019 by Matthew Skelton and Manuel Pace. The book covers 4 team types or topologies and 3 interaction modes. And the book itself was featured heavily in this year's State of DevOps report. One of the excellent benefits of this book is that it provides a common language or common vocabulary for people across your business to understand organizational models and team interactions to increase flow of change. So to answer the specific questions around platform gap, I'm going to focus on just some parts of their model, but I would strongly recommend reading this book because it's got some excellent studies and advice. The parts I'm going to focus on are 2 of the 3 interaction modes. First one, collaboration, defined within team topologies as teams working together for a defined period to discover new things. And the other one is X as a service, defined as one team provides, one team consumes something as a service. For example, an API. Secondly, the 2 team types I'm focused on are stream-aligned teams, defined as a team aligned to the main flow of business change with a cross-functional skills mix. This is often synonymous with application teams, such as the teams that we looked at earlier on. The second team type that I'm focused on is the platform team, defined in team topologies as a team that works on the underlying platform, providing a compelling internal product to accelerate delivery by stream-aligned teams. So it's within these 2 areas that I've focused in my career heavily in the last few years. But what have we been doing? How have we been working with customers? And why do we see it as so critical for success? The pattern that my team and I have been encouraging at customers for a number of years now is the need to start with collaboration. This could be described as a period of user research where the platform team needs to work with the stream-aligned teams to understand and define requirements. This collaboration provides a shared responsibility for both teams and allows each team to increase their knowledge and understanding and have empathy for the needs of the other. Whilst collaboration is critical upfront to define the boundaries of services that the platform team will provide, it's also very useful to maintain a lightweight ongoing collaboration. This is to ensure that the platform continues to deliver value as needs change. Technology can change, lots of things can change. The one constant we have, in fact, is change. The next step, once requirements are understood through collaboration, is to move to an X as a service mode. This sets clear responsibilities between teams, reduces friction and communication challenges. It enables faster delivery as the stream-aligned team has autonomy to self-serve the services that they need on demand whenever they need them, particularly if the platform team can make their service easy to consume. So we can understand that the problems we previously defined in the platform gap can begin to be tackled if we have a platform team supporting the application teams, providing services, and that the teams have clearly defined interaction modes. Now, I mentioned earlier that the platform team is defined as a team that works on the underlying platform. But what do we mean when we say platform? Are we talking about one particular technology? Back in October 2018, Evan Botcher wrote this fantastic definition of a platform. He stated, a digital platform is a foundation of self-service APIs, tools, services, knowledge, and support, which are arranged as a compelling internal product. Autonomous delivery teams can make use of the platform to deliver product features at a higher pace with reduced coordination. Now you can see that this definition is technology agnostic. It doesn't mention Kubernetes. It doesn't mention any specific technology. Rather, a platform is a set of tools and services arranged together as an internal product. This leads on to the second part of how to tackle the platform gap, and that is specifically at the platform level, having a set of activities that the platform team should be doing as part of delivering their platform and making it easy to consume. This specific set of activities that we've seen drive real success within organizations that we've worked with in the past can be grouped under the heading platform as a product. At its very simplest, this means taking everything that you would consider for other products that you build, externally facing products, and applying that same mindset and that same set of practices to your internal platform. Now, to give you some concrete examples, it can look a bit like this. So here's my platform team at the bottom of my slide. The first thing the platform team needs to understand is who are their customers. Now, if we go back to our original organization model, it would look a bit like this. We have teams A and B and C working away on their applications, and those team members, those developers, those designers, those product managers, those teams are the customers for the platform team. Now, where should they start? The platform team needs to start with collaboration. The folks who are using their platform, those teams, are the customers, and so they need to be treated as such. And we need to understand those customer requirements. The collaboration mode could look like user interviews. It could look like a journey mapping exercise. It's really any mechanism to discover and understand the customer requirements so that you can begin to work out what you should be building to meet those requirements and to actually provide value to your customers. With the requirements defined, the platform team needs to start building the platform. That is, building the set of services that the customers need. Now, again, the practices that the platform team should follow are the same as the development practices that other product teams should follow. They should be building in small batches. They should be seeking user feedback early and often, maybe through demos. They need to keep checking that what they're building is actually meeting the requirements of their customers so as they can minimize risk and not spend a large amount of time building something that ends up not being fit for purpose and not being used by their customers. At this point, it would be very beneficial for the platform team to have a product manager for their platform, someone who can outline a clear product vision and roadmap, who can prioritize the backlog in response to user needs, and can support external stakeholders. Once the platform has a service ready to be used by a customer, we know that the next step forward is to move to the X as a service mode. Now, this means providing a method by which the customer can access the service on demand without having to have any communication or intervention by the platform team. This could look like an API provided to the development team, or perhaps a developer portal, some way to make the platform easy to consume and self-serve. And as mentioned earlier, there should be ongoing, lightweight collaboration to ensure that the platform is continuing to meet user needs as requirements change, as technology changes. It needs to be a continuous iterative process for this platform to ensure it keeps delivering value. Now, as well as those two steps, there's several other things that the platform team can do themselves to really drive success for the business. One part of the platform definition from Evan Botcher stated that the platform should be a compelling internal product, meaning that the application teams should want to use it. It shouldn't be mandatory or forced upon them. It should be desirable. the internal platform should be the easiest path for the teams to get to production. And this could mean several things that the platform team can do. For example, it could mean evangelizing the platform, maybe branding it and giving it a cool name, and marketing it internally such that teams are curious and are excited to use it. This could mean providing a platform that incorporates the guardrails for security and compliance requirements that are specific to your business, which would mean that teams would know if they run their application on your platform, that it will pass through the checkpoints that are needed and be able to get to production quicker with reduced friction that they would otherwise have to deal with if they were trying to run the application outside of the internal platform. It could mean that your internal platform is the only place where teams can access a specific bespoke tool that is part of your own internal business value. It could be that that particular tool could not be accessed from a cloud provider or an external vendor, and it would provide a competitive advantage for your platform. It could mean that there's a focus by your platform team on developer experience, looking like sunshine and rainbows. It's about making your internal platform as easy to consume as possible and as delightful to use as possible so that the developers enjoy using it and have a lovely experience. All of these steps combined would lead your internal platform to be easy to use, adopted by multiple teams, with a reduced cognitive load and freed up developer time. This platform itself would fit the exact requirements of your business, and through the ongoing lightweight collaboration, it would remain up to date, secure, and relevant. Now, you might at this point be asking, how do we know this to be true? What would good look like? Let's take a look at the State of DevOps report from this year. It stated that highly evolved firms use a combination of stream-aligned teams and platform teams as the most effective way to manage team cognitive load at scale. These high performers strive to create a compelling value proposition for app teams that is easier and more cost-effective than building their own solutions. An internal platform, in nearly all cases, isn't something you can buy outright. It's something that is built and tailored to the needs of your technology organization. And finally, not every platform team is automatically successful, but the successful ones treat their platform as a product. And these quotes from the State of DevOps report are based on the excellent research that they did. In addition, there's plenty of publicly available case studies where organizations that my team and I have worked with in the past have talked about the successes they've had in implementing some of these practices. In 2019, I spoke at Spring One Platform Conference in Austin, and I shared just a few statistics of customers we had worked with who saw huge improvements in their flow of change by implementing some of these practices. For example, one company had 1,500 developers supported by only 4 operators, so a fantastic economy of scope. Another company, in 10 months, saw their platform scale to 29 teams in 4 countries with an increase of 3 times the number of deploys per month. We had a customer who saw a 90% improvement in release velocity, and another customer who saw an 89% reduction in security patching lead time from 45 days to 5 days. So you can see that by having this model of the platform team supporting the application team, and by adopting these platform as a product practices, there are some huge benefits that we have seen with customers. So to summarize how to tackle this platform gap, we need to organize teams for fast flow, specifically ensuring we have a dedicated platform team. We need to begin the learning process through collaboration and then drive towards the platform meeting the user needs as a set of services available on demand. We need to take everything we've learned from product management of external products, apply those practices to the internal platform and treat it as a product. And finally, we need to understand that to get the full value from the platform, it means treating it as a product that needs to be maintained. It's not build it once and it's finished. It needs to be iterated, it needs to be improved, it needs to be developed over time. So what's next? At Syntasa, we're really keen to continue this conversation with other folks in the community, and we would love to collaborate with others. We have a website you can find us at, or you can ping me on Twitter. If you've got questions or stories to share, we would love to hear from you. We're also working on a tool called Kratix, which is a framework for enabling platform teams to build a platform. It provides a contract between platform and application teams to be codified. Now, it's very early. We only released this project last week and it's in beta. So if anyone would like to play with it, it's available in GitHub. We would love to collaborate with you and seek feedback. If you have the chance to provide us any feedback on our tool or on this topic in general, then please feel free to contact us, feedback@syntasa.io, or again, you can message me via Twitter. So I'd like to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this conference.
Well, thank you very much for that talk, Paula. That was very informative. I'm just going to go over and look at the Slack channel to see if we have any questions, either there or live on our YouTube channel. Let's have a look.
Hopefully I explained it so well, no one's got anything to ask.
I think that is probably the case, but if not, I'm sure you'll be able to answer any questions on Slack after the fact.
Absolutely.